family had breakfast together like we did every morning. But my father was dressed for departure. He had his typical breakfast of 12 scrambled eggs, loaded with bacon and cheese, and his black coffee, and said nothing as he sat at the head of the table. Mother was quiet too. Atticus didn't seem hungry, because he barely had a few bites of his toast. Father spoke without preamble. "I'm not sure how long I'll be gone. Depends on what we discover." Half of his plate had been eaten, but he set down his fork as if he was finished. His appetite not the same under the stress. "You two were born in an era of peace. An era when we rebuilt our fallen kingdoms and ushered in a new world that we wanted to call home. I hoped it would last longer than it has. But that's life. Your mother will remain here to oversee the kingdoms in my absence. Please support her in this journey. Because the crown is heavy for the person who wears it." I didn't like this speech. It sounded like a eulogy. "I'll send a few dragons to Delacroix for your protection," Father said. "I want Pyre," Mother said instantly. "I don't want him sent on a scouting mission." Father gave a subtle nod. "I want Storm too," Mother said. "But I know he'll protect you." He stared at her, his eyes possessing endless depth, and said nothing. "You won't go on this scouting mission yourself, right?" Mother asked. "You'll send other riders?" He was still quiet. "I'm not sure." "Why would you go yourself?" she asked. "If you want something done right, do it yourself," he said simply. She continued to stare, and her fiery expression suggested she had more to say, but couldn't say it in front of us. Father pretended not to notice her rage. "If the vampire breaks any of my conditions, kill him." It was déjà vu. We escorted Father to the field to say goodbye. He would fly Storm to Hartholm, where he would remain for the foreseeable future. He was enormous in his battle armor, a walking executioner, a fighter who would terrify the most seasoned soldier. I didn't realize how safe my father made me feel until he wasn't there anymore. He grabbed Atticus by the shoulder and squeezed. "Watch your mother's back." My brother gripped Father's shoulder in return and nodded. "Always." He brought their heads together quickly before he kissed him on the forehead. He turned to me next. "You need to be prepared for war at a moment's notice. No more sundresses. Wear your uniform and armor, and always carry your blade." I nodded. His eyes were pained as he spoke, like it hurt him to say these words, to tell his daughter to be on her guard instead of vowing to protect her. "You should be safe here. I'm worried about you." "Never worry about me, sweetheart." He cupped the back of my head and pressed a kiss to my forehead before he turned away. When he faced my mother, there was a pause, like she was the hardest one to leave. They stared at each other for a while, a silent conversation passing between them. "It'll be all right, baby. I don't want to live through this again, but we must. And we must do it bravely. Because we aren't just fighting for each other anymore." She inhaled a deep breath before she gave a nod. Father smothered her with his arms, wrapping her tightly in his embrace and making her disappear in his grasp. His armor was so thick and heavy that it must be uncomfortable against her body. But she used it as a cocoon to protect her wings. "I love you. I love you." He released her without looking back, climbed onto Storm, and then launched into the sky. 2. Harlow. The castle wasn't the same without my father. If he'd gone to visit his mother in Hartholm, the energy wouldn't feel so off. But now that there was the very real chance he wouldn't return, everything was different. My mother wasn't herself, choosing to spend her time alone, when we would normally go for a ride on the horses or work in the garden.